We wrap up the games versus the host nations. Last month we had USA, where we were completely shocked by the intensity they brought. Versus Mexico, we looked so confused and so lost. And in this game, we had 0 shots on target. In this video, I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on the game and things that I think that Becachesa needs to improve on as we have our next game versus New Zealand on Tuesday. Today, Becachesa started the game with what seemed for the most part to be a 4-4-2 formation, having Hincapié, Pacho, Ordóñez, and surprisingly Franco as a right back, Angulo, Vite, Caicedo, Yeboah, and Valencia and Kevin Rodriguez up top. In the first 5 minutes of the game, Canada gets a red card, and I thought that this was going to be an interesting situation because I think we had the players to try to, even though Canada was going to just stay back, stay compact, avoid any spaces, and just allow any buildup from the defensive line, I think that we had the players to try to cause them harm. We had 2 strikers in the game already. We had Yeboah on one side, Angulo on the other. We also had Caicedo that can try to play those midfield gaps because he tends to play quickly, move the ball around quickly, so I thought that's exactly what we needed. So I had thought that this would be an interesting scenario because we lack with scoring, but I did think that we had the players to make the most of it. I do also think that as the first half progressed, we tried different things. We tried to have the Canadian lines push up a little bit. Even Caicedo dropped closer to the defensive line, trying to perhaps drag a couple of defenders with him. And I think that it wasn't as effective, although we did have opportunities. I did like to see Yeboah with his pass to Ener Valencia, and when that play was happening, I did see Hincapié make that run to the second post, which might have been another option, but I don't blame Ener Valencia for trying to score. It was off target. It should have been a better shot. That would have been a good opportunity to score. After that, I think Canada got the most clear shot of the game. It was a one-on-one versus the goalkeeper, and Galindez, once again, like always, saves us. Canada did their best to try to get under Ecuador's skin. Being one man down, they most likely were trying to mentally manipulate us into possibly getting a red card as well. I'll also say that there were a couple of runs that Hincapié made down the left, and one of them ended in a cross. I don't think it was the best of crosses, but I think from where he started to how he got there was very promising. And when we saw that combination with the midfielder or Angulo, I thought that maybe we would see more of that throughout the game or throughout that first half, but it was, I think, at most 2 times it happened, if not 3 or just once. But I honestly thought that it just showed the quality that we had, that we were able to dominate them technically, and it would have been nice to see that more, but we didn't see it. As the first half came to an end, I just thought that we just needed to improve on finding our strikers, whether it was better quality crosses, better quality passes from the midfield into the strikers, having our strikers make better runs, time their runs to be able to receive the ball and be able to shoot right away. I also think that at that point we didn't have a need for Franco. I would have liked maybe Preciado to go in. For some reason he didn't go in the whole game, but I think that if we might have replicated what we saw with Hincapié on the other side, we would have generated more opportunities to score. In the second half, Plata came in and he played more of a midfielder while also stretching out wide at times. And I think in general the second half was kind of a more of a roller coaster. There were times where Canada decided to push forward and try to attack and try to see what they can do. And I remember looking at those moments, I think that Ecuador could have could have done a bit more. I think that Canada felt confident at moments of the second half. They didn't have those same that same movement in the first half, and I thought that in the second half we finally got them where we want them. They're pushing higher, they're playing in our zone, they're playing in our half. We should try to make the most of those opportunities now that they're not sitting back. Later in the second half, we saw Baez and Patrick Mercado go in. I guess Becachese was trying to stir up the midfield a little bit more, even though we found them going wide at times. But again, it was just kind of the same thing as before. We weren't able to generate any shots. And with those two being in and Plata kind of alternating with Baez, I thought that maybe we'd have at least some spaces to shoot from outside the box, and I don't think we ever did. I don't think I saw any of our midfielders take shots from outside the box, because at that point, clearly we weren't able to find any strikers. We weren't able to produce any quality crosses. Even one of Franco's cross went completely crazy. And I think Baez took a cross and it was too short. So we weren't able to find anybody. And I thought that maybe if you can't find anybody in the box, maybe you'll be able to try to take some shots from outside the box. And I don't think we saw that at all. I mean, I remember one where it deflected off of a Canadian, and Caicedo, I think, just tried to just hit it whichever way it came. And obviously, you don't want to do that. Towards the end of the second half, Becachese does something that he should have done a lot earlier, and that is to sub out Ener Valencia and give Jeremy Arevalo more time. He ended up only giving him about 5 minutes plus extra time, and he plays Campana in the last, I think, 2 to 3 minutes of the game, and we end 0-0. In closing, I think we missed out on a good opportunity to give Jeremy Arevalo more time. Clearly, it wasn't Ener Valencia's game. And looking into the next game, I hope that he does get a generous amount of time to play. I would like to see actual right backs play their position as opposed to Daniel Castillo or Alan Franco. I do want to see more creativity from our center mids, to have them try to penetrate or to send balls through the defensive line to our strikers or our wingers. I don't think we saw that in this game. I think our midfield was very quiet in terms of generating play. I also think that we missed on giving John Mercado an opportunity to play today, and Alan Minda, who both also have been scoring with their clubs. And I think that's something that you also have to consider as, I guess, worrisome, because all our players are doing good in their clubs for the most part. They're all scoring good goals, but when it comes to the national team, nothing happens. So, but I do want to end in a positive note, as always, as I try to do. I think that as opposed to what we saw in the Mexico game or the USA game, where against Mexico we looked very sloppy, very confused, that wasn't the case this time around, except for when it came to the final third. I think we were very confident. I think we had great chemistry in the build-up until the final third. And also in terms of the intensity that Canada proposed, I think that we managed that pretty well, even though they only had 10 men on the field. So it's tough to say on that one, but it is what it is. So on Tuesday, let's see how we do. Let's see if we can find our strikers, produce some quality crosses, have our attackers form clean shots in front of goal, have our midfielders generate some long shots if we can't find any opportunities inside the box, and even try to see if we can have a better idea of how we're going to go about with set pieces.